In Gilead, clothing wasn't just fabric, it was weaponry. The scarlet robes that once marked handmaids as property have now become their battle armor. As June Osborne once said, "Tonight, we will use these robes to start a war." And that war has finally begun. Welcome back, everyone. Sometimes a revolution doesn't announce itself with gunfire and explosions. Sometimes it whispers. In Exodus, the 8th episode of the Handmaid's Tale's final season, we witness not the bloody spectacle many predicted, but something far more chilling, a revolution of surgical precision, where the oppressed turn the symbols of their captivity into tools of liberation. Like a dormant volcano finally erupting after years of pressure building beneath the surface, this episode delivers a catharsis that feels earned through 6 seasons of suffering. The handmaid's transformation from victims to executioners unfolds with the quiet inevitability of a slowly tightening noose. And tonight, we'll explore how this methodical rebellion represents the series at its most powerful. Serena Joy's wedding to Commander Wharton serves as the perfect backdrop for revolution, a grotesque pageant where opulence masks barbarism. The scene unfolds like a twisted fairy tale, complete with towering chandeliers, ornate thrones, and a wedding cake that reaches toward heaven like a false idol. What makes this sequence so effective isn't just the visual contrast between Gilead's elite reveling in luxury while handmaids stand in silent formation. It's the suffocating irony of Serena addressing these women as though they share some sisterhood, when in reality, she's merely stepped into another cage with gilded bars. The camera work deserves special mention here, lingering close-ups on June's face hidden beneath her wings, capturing fleeting glances between handmaids as they pass hidden blades from hand to hand. Each shot is composed like a Renaissance painting, beauty concealing violence waiting to erupt. In literature, poison has always been considered a woman's weapon, subtle, requiring patience and intelligence rather than brute force. How fitting, then, that Rita, once a Martha forced to serve Gilead's elite, delivers their downfall through a wedding cake laced with sedatives. This isn't just narrative convenience, it's poetic justice. The commanders and their wives, who have feasted on the suffering of others for years, now consume the instrument of their own destruction. Their gluttony becomes their undoing as they return to their homes, sink into their beds, and fall into a sleep from which some will never wake. The scene where the drug takes effect unfolds with excruciating tension. Each yawn, each heavy eyelid, each commander dismissing his guard for the night feels like the ticking of a countdown clock. By making the violence premeditated rather than spontaneous, the show elevates the handmaid's actions from desperate rebellion to calculated justice. When June finally confronts Commander Bell in his bedroom, the moment distills years of rage into a single, chilling exchange. June Osborne, nice to meet you. The knife to his eye isn't a frenzied attack, but a clinical execution. Justice delivered with the same cold efficiency that Gilead used to implement its oppression. It's reminiscent of how dictatorships throughout history have fallen, not always through massive uprisings, but through the strategic removal of key figures. What makes these killings so affecting is their restraint. The series has never shied away from graphic violence, yet here, much is left to implication. The camera often cuts away just as the blade meets flesh, forcing us to imagine the act rather than witness it. Like Greek tragedy, the horror happens offstage, making it somehow more profound. The episode's final moments, where handmaids flee the red center into the snowy night, create a visual metaphor as powerful as any in the series. Their red cloaks, once markers of shame, now form a crimson river flowing through the white landscape, like blood returning to a body long numbed. June's closing narration frames their exodus perfectly. The dress became our uniform, and we became an army. This isn't just escapism, it's transformation. These women aren't just fleeing Gilead, they're marching against it. The image evokes countless historical parallels: the Underground Railroad, resistance fighters fleeing occupied territories, refugees crossing borders. But what makes it uniquely powerful is how it inverts Gilead's own symbolism. The color red, meant to mark these women as vessels, now marks them as warriors. With just 2 episodes remaining in the series, Exodus has set the stage for a finale that must address several burning questions. Will Boston's fall trigger a domino effect throughout Gilead? History tells us that authoritarian regimes often appear invincible until they suddenly collapse, their strength becoming brittleness once the first crack appears. Can Serena be trusted if she aligns with June? Their relationship has always been a complex dance of hatred and reluctant respect. A genuine alliance would require Serena to fully acknowledge her culpability, something she's resisted for 6 seasons. Will Aunt Lydia actively join the resistance, or will she become its martyr? Her breakdown suggests a crisis of faith that could propel her toward redemption, or toward self-destruction. And most critically, can Hannah be saved? June's primary motivation has always been her daughter. No victory against Gilead will feel complete without Hannah's freedom. Exodus reminds us why The Handmaid's Tale has resonated so deeply in our cultural moment. In an era when many feel powerless against systemic oppression, the episode offers a vision of resistance that isn't about outgunning your enemy, but outsmarting them, using their own weapons and symbols against them. The Handmaid's rebellion succeeds precisely because it exploits Gilead's fundamental weakness, its inability to see women as threats. By rendering these women invisible beneath identical robes, Gilead created the perfect cover for revolution. Like water slowly eroding stone, the true power of resistance often lies not in dramatic confrontation, but in patient, persistent undermining of foundations. Exodus delivers this lesson with artistic precision, giving us a revolution dipped in blood, steeped in rage, and executed with the quiet determination of those who have nothing left to lose. As we approach the series finale, one thing is clear: the red cloaks of Gilead will never be seen the same way again. They have been transformed from symbols of subjugation into banners of liberation, a reminder that even the most oppressive systems contain the seeds of their own destruction. As June once said, they should never have given us uniforms if they didn't want us to be an army. In Exodus, that army finally marches, not with drums and trumpets, but with knives in the dark and a determination forged through years of suffering. The beginning of the end for Gilead? We'll soon find out.